Hello, Loveland. I'm Mike Meldon, and this is your Loveland Weekly Podcast, brought to you by Gina Dubell-Smith, eXp Realty, and Stone Pillar Farm. As you may know, I'm a big fan of our local cryptid, the Loveland Frogman. I love all the mystery behind it, and I think that the thought of this creature helps foster our community spirit, as I discussed in a previous episode. Well, today we're going to hear from a local man named Jeff Craig, whom I actually find out during our conversation is the reason I learned about our frogman in the first place. Kind of blew my mind. But the reason Jeff's here is to talk about his official Frogman Festival that he's putting on for a second year in a row. The event will be held Saturday, March 2nd at the Oasis Conference Center, and he's going to explain all the different activities and events and people that you can see when you're there. So sit back, relax, enjoy this conversation, and make your plans to check out this unique event. Today is Tuesday, February 20th, 2024.
I got interested in frogman and cryptids in general after watching a movie that I'm sure many of your listeners know, the Mothman Prophecies. I rented that probably from a Blockbuster video. It was back in like 2004 or 5, and I'd heard of the movie. I had no idea it was paranormal or anything like that. I knew it had Richard Gere, so I just figured it was a Richard Gere movie. But a buddy of mine, Brian, said, "You got to watch this movie." So we brought it back to my house, and my family was there, and his friend, my friend Jill, his partner, was with us, and we watched it, and I was blown away because I'm in Cincinnati, and here's this story that takes place just a couple hours downriver.
Right.
Granted, it was several decades ago, previous to when we watched it, but I was still fascinated, and I just thought to myself, what other crazy stories are going on that I don't know about? And I had been in Cincinnati at that point in 2005 for almost 15 years. And, granted, I wasn't actively seeking this stuff out at that time, but
Right.
still that story was, such a big event when it did happen in the late 60s. So, I was born in 68. And so, for me to, I didn't experience it firsthand or the story. And I grew up in the Chicago area, came to Ohio for college and in geography, and I started making maps for a living. So the two things kind of came together right there, maps and strange stories and events. So I had to go and
What part of Cincinnati
see
do
them.
you live in now?
I live in the Mount Airy neighborhood.
Mount Airy. Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
It's funny, and I want you to explain how those two come together. But and maybe you have something to do with this. I lived in Loveland and hadn't heard about it. And a buddy of mine at school had the map of Ohio, I can't think of it. It's not a cryptid map, but it's all supernatural type, interesting map of Ohio. And he said, "Oh, you live in Loveland." And he pointed out the Loveland Frogman. And this was probably around the same time you mentioned, 2006, 2005, 2006. And that's when I started looking into it, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I never heard of this, but it was from a map, which I thought,
One of these?
That's exactly it. Yes.
That's my map. I made it.
So you made that map.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So so it's because of you that I heard of it the first time. And I have that map now hanging in my classroom at school.
Oh, that is awesome. And what school?
Oak Hills High School.
Oh my gosh. That's right.
Yeah.
The Fighting Scots.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah.
Small world. What a connection. That's so neat.
It is. That's great. So being a geography major, I went to Miami and then UC for my master's in geography and, just did the usual map stuff. And I got a job mapping for a company. But when I watched this movie, I'd been doing mapping for 15 years at this point, and I just said to myself, being a map guy, I want to see these on a map, and I just kind of was goofing around on this little map I had on my computer that I was kind of pinpointing things on. And like, so I had started investigating other weird stuff, hauntings and cryptids and UFOs, kind of the whole spectrum of the supernatural. So then I kind of started thinking, maybe other people would like to see this. So that's when I came out with the maps. The first map came out in 2007. And when I was researching this map, I learned about the Loveland Frogman, which I'd never heard of.
Wow.
Until I did the research.
That blows my mind. I mean, it just does, because you are the reason that I found out about it. I had no idea that when we were speaking today that you had any link to that. And too cool.
Weird.
Very weird.
Serendipity,
and I bought that at Half Price Books. That's where you probably...
They're one of my best clients. They buy hundreds at a time to sell at all their stores. And then I came out with a national version. A couple of years ago, people kept asking me for other states, so now I have Map in Black, which is the entire country.
Oh, I got to grab that one.
That's unfold this big bad boy, and you've got the whole country.
All right, is that as much as books too?
It should be.
It should be. Okay,
it should be there.
Yeah, I got to get my hands on
that. You can get it at through my website, or if you come to the Frogman Festival, I'll have it there.
Awesome. All right, so now you got into the Frogman. So where did the idea for the festival come about? I know this is going to be your second year, correct?
It is my second year. And so with my maps, I was going around and vending at different events. When I first just had the Ohio map for the first 15 years or so, I would go to various Ohio events or festivals or conventions and sell my map. And a couple other little trinkets and things and stickers that I've done. But the map was kind of my main item. And so I was going around and I started going to the Mothman Festival in the late 20-aughts. I'm just like, this is so cool. The Mothman Festival is kind of the grandfather of cryptid festivals. It's an outdoor street festival for the whole weekend that the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia puts on. So I was a vendor there. And even when I was there the first several years, it was well attended. But in the last 3 or 4 years, it's gone nuts. And I don't know if it's because COVID happened and we couldn't go. But I know I'm not a vendor anymore. I kind of lost my spot for over the years, having not been able to attend every year. And that's okay. But they sell my map in the gift shop there. So I'm like, you know what? You got me covered. But I was going around doing events, and I'm like, I go to Iowa, and I go to this little town outside of Des Moines called Van Meter, and they had one little sighting. It was like during the course of one season, one summer, they had this creature in the early 1900s called the Van Meter Visitor, kind of a Mothman type creature. And now there's a little festival for that. And I'm out there and I'm vending at that. And I'm like, this is really cool. So the idea, wasn't that hard to formulate that we need one for Frogman. And I kind of looked around. I'm like, no one's doing this? I'm like, really? So I was going to email the officials in Loveland. And I actually had a draft in my, sandbox to put out to them. And I was at another UFO festival in Virginia talking to a guy. And that's a whole weird story how I met him. He was on a TV show called The Unexplained with William Shatner. And I'd actually seen that episode the night before in my hotel. And then the day I go to this UFO fest, the guy that was speaking in that episode was there. And I'm like, hey, I saw you on TV last night. And he's like, yeah. And that was like a debut episode. And so we got talking, and his expertise is on the lizard man of South Carolina, which is another strange little one-off kind of sighting. So I said, well, I have a local cryptid, the Frogman, the Loveland Frogman. And he knew what that was. And I said, I want to do a festival. And I'm like, I'm ready to reach out to the city of Loveland. He said, don't do that. He said, you should do it yourself. And he's like, I'll help you. So that launched the idea. That was in 2022. So I drove back to Cincinnati. He's in the Carolinas, so I was the local guy. And so I got back and I started looking for a venue, and I already knew all the vendors because I'm vendor friends with all these people. So I got 50 of my friends to be vendors.
That's cool.
7 or 8 people to be speakers that I've gotten to know over the years, who are kind of passionate and experts on special interest
That's great. Yeah,
stories.
you're the perfect guy to do it. Perfect guy to bring it here.
Yes, it all finally came together right then and there. And, if I had done it sooner, probably wouldn't have been the best timing. So it all worked out. And it was a great success last year. A lot of fun. Got 7 or 8 speakers again this year, about 60 vendors. And we have a Frogman movie. Not we, I don't have it, but someone made a Frogman movie. And we are going to debut that Friday night and Saturday night after the festival. The doors open Saturday, March 2nd at 9:30, and it's at the Oasis Conference Center. It's got a Loveland address. I believe that's Miami Township technically, but
I know that makes people happy, though, because last year people were like, what? It's not even, it was in Mason.
It was in Mason, but you know what? I measured it on Google Maps, and we were 2,000 feet away from the Little Miami River. As the crow flies. So
that's awesome.
I felt I was still in the heart of Frogman territory there.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to be at a Loveland address. The Oasis is great. 9:30 to 6 p.m. Go to frogmanfestival.org. You can pre-order your tickets, save a few bucks, or you can pay at the door, no problem. And we've got, like I said, over 50 vendors, 60 vendors. They're all handpicked because they make their own stuff, whether it's art and Frogman art and cryptid art, or plushies shaped like the Frogman. You've got anything and everything Frogman related. But I want the vendors to make the stuff themselves or produce content like a podcast or some podcasts that'll be there, which is great. I love supporting those as well. But that way you just don't have an Amway salesman there vending for some weird reason.
Right.
9 speakers in 8 time slots. 2 of the speakers will speak at the same time. Several of them are authors. They've written books. One of my oldest friends, Jim Willis, will be there again. He spoke last year. He wrote the Weird Ohio book that I know a lot of people have. And he's written several other books as well. And I've got Sherry Brake, who is a seasoned storyteller in books as well as tours. And she goes to Scotland and Ireland to give haunted tours. So I've known Sherry a long time. She's in West Virginia now, but she's coming out to give a talk. Cameron Jones will be there from Circleville. He'll talk about UFOs. So we've got not just Frogman stories, but a lot of interesting stories. Jeffrey Wilson from Central Ohio will be talking about Serpent Mound and the mounds of the Little Miami River, like Fort Ancient. So not that they're paranormal or anything, but they're mysterious.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I enjoy mounds. So we also may have a special appearance by Frogman itself. And I'm going to bring a couple of bagpipers in at noon, and they're going to play the pipes, the Pied Pipers of Loveland, and march around to see if I can conjure up the Frogman or any Frogman creatures. And I am inviting everyone who's there to participate, march in the parade, dress up in any way you see fit, whether it's your own version of Frogman or your cosplay or whatever. It's a parade for everyone to enjoy. We'll march through the venue and see what happens at noon. So make sure if you're attending that you're there by then. I'm expecting a lot of people. There is 400 parking spots, but if it's full, park across the street at the church for overflow. They've given me that okay, and just walk over. So lots of things happening with the speakers all day, plenty of vendors. I've got a fortune teller who's going to provide her talents if people are curious about that. Just to expand things and make it fun for all the forms of the mysterious.
Hey, Loveland. It's Emily Barblow, your local publisher of Loveland Lifestyle Magazine. Just wanted to remind you guys that we love covering all of the people, happenings, and things going on in our amazing town of Loveland, Ohio. So make sure to grab your latest copy. We always drop a bunch off in downtown Loveland and surrounding areas. Or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. everything from events to mini press releases, articles. I mean, we have so much happening here. We love covering all of the things happening. So make sure if you're not already following us on social media, you are. And stay tuned for more awesome info from Loveland Lifestyle.
Hello, it's Elise Knapschafer with another Loveland High School Weekly Update. So this week at the high school there is a lot going on, but first we started off the week with President's Day, which means that we had off, which everyone greatly appreciated. Since we are nearing the end of winter sports season, a lot of sports are dwindling down but also going into tournament play. Boys basketball has tournament play versus Milford at Lakota West on Friday. Boys and girls are swimming at state, and wrestling is in sectionals, and AQT has a match at home. Another big thing going on right now is the LLS fundraiser for Team Courage to try and raise the most money in the Cincinnati area for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. The events going on this week to benefit LLS are at Better Blend, Bishop's Quarter, and Cappy's. You can check the Instagram for more events or more information, but every dollar spent goes to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Looking ahead in Loveland, just want to make sure that you get your tickets for the Frogman Festival coming up on March 2nd, as we just discussed. Go to www.frogmanfestival.org, or you can grab your tickets at the door. Doors are open 9:30 a.m. and continue until 6 p.m. at the Oasis Conference Center. If you have any events that you would like me to mention or show ideas for the podcast, please reach out at mike@lovelandpod.com. We have something truly special here in Loveland. Thank you for listening, and have a great week. With the support of On Brand Studios, this episode was recorded, produced, and engineered by myself, Mike Meldon. And please note that the opinions expressed in the podcast do not necessarily represent the views of our sponsors or organization.